All right, Al, we ready to rip the bow off the new segment, man?
Let's get it rocking,
Are you ready to rip the bow off the new segment, man? Let's do it.
Born ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Because the new segment, Al, is called The Franchise Forecast. That's right, man. On the Franchise Forecast, we recap the week through the lens of the Knicks' hottest and coldest players right now, and we react to it, man. Where you want to go, Al? Do we want to go? Because you just spoke about the cold weather, which was a good segment by you to segue into the Franchise Forecast new segment, man. Do we want to start with the cold, or do we want to start with the warm, the hot?
So let's start with the cold, man. If we're talking about cold, we'll end on a good note with the hot.
Let's start with the cold. And look, man, you know, it's really nothing new with this guy because he's been cold literally since he signed the check with the Knicks, and that's Guerschon Yabusele out. You know, only 2.7 points per game, shooting 31.8% from three after shooting 40% with the Philadelphia 76ers last year. 2.7 points, 2.5 rebounds on 9.6 minutes a game. Are you concerned about Guerschon Yabusele, and how does he bounce back here, man?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, I'm at a 3 right now. I'm not too worried. He's still very young. Look, he had a lot of opportunities to just do a lot of running with Philly. He's not getting that here. And I think with the injuries that you just mentioned earlier, he's going to get that run, and I expect him to bounce back and be a little bit stronger. The shooting has actually been pretty decent over the last couple of games. Shooting like, you see, like the last 3 out of the last 5, he's shooting over 60%. So I think it's coming around. I know it's low volume, but I think he'll come around. It's just defensively, man. I think that's just him getting conditioned and just him getting more minutes. But I expect him to get this thing turned around. He's just going through a cold slump right now.
Yeah, I'm going to be patient, man. He was one of the guys that I thought that we should have been patient with, just because I thought he was going to have a major adjustment to the system, to not being just featured. And look, it's a lot of mouths to feed on this Knicks team. This isn't Philly from last year where he had a lot of guys injured and you could just run up stats. It's a different situation here, and he has to adjust to being a star in his role, which means, as you said, defensively, getting after it on the rebounds, and efficient offense whenever it comes, knocking down those threes whenever you get an opportunity. But I also think that the Knicks can do a better job of finding him on those mismatches whenever it allows, and whatever it allows for him to take advantage of. And so, look, now's the time with no OG Anunoby. Guerschon Yabusele has a chance to get comfortable here, and now's the time for him. Now, let's get to our next guy on the cold front, Al. And this has been a little bit tricky, man, but how about Deuce? How about Deuce, man? You know, Deuce McBride, you know, last couple of games, Al, if you look at his stat sheet, 9 points, 9 points, and 9 points last 3 games. But overall, for the season, Al, he's shooting 40% from the field. Yes, 36% from 3, but, you know, hasn't been a great output from Deuce. Miami game, 16 from 3, 40 from the field. 37.5 from the field for Orlando. What do you think about Deuce? Not as freezing as Yabusele, but a little cool for Deuce, man. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man, it's a little cool. I mean, look, he did miss some time due to personal reasons. So, you know, coming back and trying to earn your spot, not necessarily in the way that I'm saying, like, he lost his spot, but just earn your minutes and, like, truly just get back into offensive flow. That is sometimes very tough for guys like that. But look, man, through the last 7 games that he's played, he's averaging about 20 minutes, which not bad. So he's getting the opportunities to work through it. It's just that he's only shooting 41% right now from the field over that time. But CP, for the last 7 games, he's shot over 40%, which is not great because you need his shooting. That's the whole point. You need, especially from downtown. He's the guy who's going to space the floor and be your best perimeter player. And right now, he's giving you the defense, not necessarily giving you the offense. But I do believe that he'll get out of this at some point, man. We always see it from Deuce, especially last season when he dealt with injuries. I expect him to turn it right back around. It may just take a little bit longer.
Yeah, Deuce is a guy, man. He comes and goes in cycles, and I think this is now just a little valley for him. Hey, maybe personal issues. Sometimes we don't take that into account with players, and he's actually questionable for personal reasons for the Miami game on Monday. Not sure if that's tied to the passing in his family that sidelined him a few weeks ago. So maybe that's a factor as well. We got to give Deuce some time, but as you said, you need his offense. The defense is fine, but you need Deuce's offense and shooting out there, and it just hasn't been on point over these last few games, as you mentioned. And now he has another adjustment to make, because with no Jalen Brunson, I expected him to be the starting point guard of this team. But as you saw in the Miami game, the Knicks couldn't get any fluidity when he was out there running the point, at least in the beginning. They couldn't get the paint touches, and they didn't have that consistent dribble penetrations for those driving kicks. And so for Deuce, that's another role that he's going to have to excel at with the captain out. Another adjustment for him. So the shooting and the playmaking is going to have to improve in those minutes. Now we move to the warm front, my part of the map, Al, if you will. All right? Now, first guy we got to talk about, man, because as you've been saying in these post games, he's far from cardiac, but we got to put some respect on Jordan Clarkson's name. Last 3 games this week, 14 points per game, 52% shooting from the field, 46.7 from 3 for Jordan Clarkson, man. What have you liked about Clarkson? He's a plus-minus 5.3 on the week. What have you liked about Jordan, man?
Clarkson has just been playing so efficient, man. That's been my biggest thing about him. Over the last 7 games, Jordan Clarkson has been averaging, 13 points per game, but shooting CP 55% from the field, 44% from downtown, 86% from the free throw line on just 2 attempts per game. But the guy is doing it, man. When you're asking for him to just be a scorer, he's giving you just that. And the assist numbers is not showing the complete picture of the playmaking, because he's averaging only 2 assists over the last 7 games. But he's been a good playmaker too, man. He's just been getting the paint touches, kicking it out to the perimeter, finding guys in the paint with those dump off passes. Clarkson's been giving you great minutes, man, and he's giving you 13 points, and he's averaging right now through the last 7 games only 19 minutes. So Clarkson has been just a breath of fresh air after not having a sustainable scoring bench for a guy who can create for himself. Dude is fantastic, and I only expect him to have more of an impact while Brunson's out, because you're going to need that type of creator.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. My thing with Clarkson that I've been impressed with, especially this weekend, as a counter to how he started the season, which was kind of slow, the efficiency, but the decision making. The decision making has been good. He's been aggressive when he needs to. Where we would call him cardiac, the chucking, if you will, really hasn't been there. He's really been very contained, and I like his energy defensively. Like, look, he's gonna have his weaknesses. He has his vulnerabilities defensively, but I like his effort overall, and understanding that, look, he understands his role coming off the bench. Instant offense, get the Garden up and go and give him that energy. And without Captain Clutch Jalen Brunson and without OG Anunoby, he's another guy whose offense you're going to have to live and die with how he plays. But so far, he's having a good week, and he is on the warm side of the franchise forecast. Now, as we keep it going now, Landry Shamet, come on down, man. Shout out to Sham Wow, Sham Sanity, whatever you want to call it. Landry Shamet got his MSG moment on Friday against the Miami Heat, but overall, Al, he's heating up, man. 19 points per game this week, 63% shooting from the field, and 47% shooting from downtown. Obviously, he had the explosion against the Heat for 36 points, but hey, 11 off the bench for Orlando and 10 off the bench for Memphis. And I think, look, for a bench player for his slot in the rotation, those are good numbers for him. But to come out with the 37-point explosion, man, looks like Landry Shamet is ready to roll without OG Anunoby, without Jalen Brunson.
The thing I like about Shamet, man, is that he constantly plays with energy. You know, you don't have to go into a game not knowing if Shamet's going to bring it tonight. He's always going to bring it, and I love how he competes on defense. Not your greatest defender. We saw Norman Powell take it to him, but you can always count on that he's going to be a guy who plays with high energy. But the efficiency right now, CP, and this is why they brought him back, is because of the efficiency of his shooting. And we're going to see a little bit more than just being a three-point shooter. We're seeing him doing those curls and getting to the mid-range. We're seeing, him driving and taking it to the cup, especially against Miami. The efficiency is just through the roof right now for Sham. I mean, over the last 7 games, and I'm choosing the last 7 games because the Knicks have won the last 6 out of the last 7. But when you look at what Shamet has done during that time period, dude is averaging 13 points in 23 minutes, 56 from the field, 52% from downtown. And we're not talking about some small volume either. We're talking about close to 5 3-point attempts per game. So the guy is giving you just what you need, being a guy who's going to put the ball in the hoop offensively, especially from downtown when you're looking for spacing. I love what Shamet's been bringing, man, for the Knicks.
Yeah, all 3 levels. And I talked about it in that Heat game. What impressed me the most was, yes, he can get those catch and shoot threes, but he was shooting contested threes with confidence and knocking them down. And then at the same time, attacking the paint. OG's gone. Brunson is gone. Who is going to get the Knicks the paint touches that they need? Let's see if Landry Shamet can carry that over into South Beach on Monday and beyond, because the Knicks are going to need this version of him, this aggressive version of Landry Shamet, to maintain their winning ways. But speaking of him, he deserved his accolades this week after coming off of the separated shoulder last year, not really getting the consistent minutes from Tom Thibodeau off the Knicks bench last year when they really needed him. And so now Landry Shamet, it's his time to capitalize on some playing time with the absence of some of the Knicks' top gunners. Now, also on my list on the franchise forecast, Al, warming up, Josh Hart. Gotta come to the stage, man. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 6.7 assists this week. And again, just a counter to how he started, where he's going. I thought Josh Hart had a great week, and I think he's heating up right now, man. He looks very comfortable in this Brown offense, very aggressive. He's getting the Knicks out in transition. As I mentioned that earlier in the show, with no Captain Clutch Jalen Brunson, I thought Josh assumed the point guard duties very well and had himself a triple-double off the bench against the Miami Heat. Josh Hart is heating up, Al.
Josh Hart is heating up. I mean, look, he had that 14-rebound game when he first returned against Boston. From those next 3 games, the guy looked like a shell of himself. I mean, the game that we all had where it was like, is Josh Hart even going to be that effective this season? Was that first matchup against Chicago. 15 minutes, didn't make one single basket, only got 1 board and 1 assist. Since then, CP, through the next 7 games, this is what Josh Hart is doing for the New York Knicks. He's averaging 26 minutes, getting you 12 points per game, 54% from the field. He is shooting a whopping 46% from downtown with 3 attempts per game, shooting 89% from the free throw line, getting you 7 boards, 5 assists. Josh Hart's doing the damn thing. And we saw, as you mentioned, what he did against Miami. He stepped up in a big way, and I expect him to do the same thing as we are without Jalen Brunson for TBD, man. TBD without Jalen Brunson.
Agreed. And last but not least, Al, we talked about him. He was our player of the week, and he's heating up on the franchise forecast. Karl-Anthony Towns, 25 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists on 38.5% shooting from 3, 1.7 steals. The big bodega is heating up for the New York Knicks. Overall, just gotta love his aggressiveness. We know who Karl Towns is at his peak powers, but a lot of the times it's between the ears with the big bodega, and you had to love his approach this week against inferior defenders, if you will. No, Triple J is not that on the Memphis side, but for Miami with no Bam, that's dog food. Pin the ears back and get ready to go, and that's what Karl Anthony Towns did, and that's what I'm going to be expecting from him this week as they face off against the Heat. They head over to Dallas, and then they head to Orlando to finish off the week.
Look, man, Towns was a jungle cat, and all I needed to do was just to continue being aggressive. That's it, man. That's my analysis. Phenomenal. We already went through it. Phenomenal performance by Karl Anthony Towns. Just continue to be aggressive.
The Big Bodega. And that was the segment, Al. The Franchise Forecast.